And we're live. And with me, I have the most racist, sexist man over the internet, 6oodfella.
Hello.
And for those of you who didn't get it, I was just joking, because we do have people who don't take a joke. Anyway.
Yes, especially in writing.
So, how would you describe yourself?
No nonsense. Straight to the point. I don't care about people's feelings. I care about facts. Facts over feelings.
Do you get any heat for not caring about other people's feelings, or
Sometimes, rarely though. I think more people like that. I don't really show much concern. It's not that I just don't care. I won't deliberately be cruel just for the sake of being cruel, but I won't put feelings over facts. Facts come first. So, and a lot of facts people don't like. Like if I'm talking about the race issue, for example, I don't have time to concern myself with people's feelings on the issue. I'd rather just get the facts out there. Let's discuss the facts. If you start caring about people's feelings, you end up walking on eggshells. You don't know. You don't want to say the wrong thing. Forget that. I can't do that.
But do you think that we should care about people's feelings to a certain extent, though?
It depends. I mean, you don't. I mean, I don't want to deliberately upset people, But like, say for example, I'm talking about crime stats or something like that, and somebody says, "Oh, it's a bit insensitive." Some people may not like that. I don't care. I don't care if they don't like it. I don't care if it makes them feel bad. I'm speaking the truth, and if they feel bad, then that's on them. They need to do something about that. They need to look into that and sort that out for themselves. I'm not going to concern myself with it. Like, I mean, it's one of the things, being an anti-feminist. Like, for years, I've noticed that too much concern, and it still happens, but too much concern is given to women's feelings, and I don't go down that road. I can't. Because we're not going to get anywhere if we keep concerning ourselves with women's feelings, because a lot of women are going to lie and pretend that their feelings are hurt so that the conversation stops. So if you disregard that and say, "No, I don't care about your feelings, let's continue," they don't have a leg to stand on.
Have you ever been a feminist?
No, I mean, no. I've never called myself a feminist. I think most anti-feminists at some point were, or considered themselves feminists. Like, it's one of those things where you don't really pay much attention. Like, if I was, say, about, I don't know, under 14, and somebody said, "You're a feminist," I would probably go, sure, why not? It means equality, right? Because I'd have been ignorant on the subject. But no, I've never been a feminist. Egalitarian. I've always been an egalitarian.
Why are you an anti-feminist?
I'm anti all hate groups and hate movements. I don't like any of them. Feminism to me is it's a terrorist organisation and a hate group, and that's not an exaggeration. They are terrorists.
Okay. For this next question, I don't know if you're going to have the same answer or a different answer, so I'll ask these back to back. Why did you start a YouTube channel? And if it's a different answer, what has inspired you to make anti-feminist YouTube videos?
That's a kind of the same, really. That my anti-feminism is what started. This is what started me on YouTube. I used to like go through different websites and comment and stuff like that, and get into all sorts of arguments on different websites. And then I just decided, I'm going to put videos on the YouTube. I'll give it a try. And I put the kind of cartoony ones up at first without my voice. And they done okay. I made a good few arguments and points with them, and then eventually I just evolved into showing my face and using my voice and stuff.
Yeah, because like for some people, they start off making atheist videos, and then they go from atheist videos to making anti-feminist videos, which is why I ask about questions in case they started off making one type of content, and then they switched to making a different type of content.
I do follow a lot of atheists. There's a lot of atheist YouTubers who I watch, but I think atheism now has kind of, when it comes to videos, it's lost its momentum. I think it's done its job now. You know, like because they used to go after Christians, right? Christianity was the big one, and they've went after them and they've attacked them so much now that I think they've won. You know, they've ran out of things to talk about. Basically, you know, I mean, there's only so many videos you can watch where they tell you the difference between an atheist and an agnostic. You know, there's only so many videos you can watch where, you know, they go through the arguments about why they're still monkeys and stuff like that. So I think because of that, the people who made these videos, they've just moved on to different topics, and anti-feminism and social justice warrior things are one of the big topics right now that a lot of people cover. But I've always been an atheist, but I've never really made videos about it, because for me it's like I can't really, I don't see the point really. You know, it's like, do you believe in God? No, done, end of story. That's it for me. I don't need. There's nothing. There's nobody to argue with there. There's no. I don't have anything to really add to that. I imagine if I was living in America, you know, and I had the Christians try to maybe make certain laws or something, then maybe I'd have something to say. But right here where I am in Britain, we're not really religious here. We don't take it that seriously.
Oh,
I think atheist. The problem with atheist YouTubers today is that a lot of them will not attack Islam. And I'm getting kind of tired of that. You know, if you're an atheist and you're willing to attack Christians, then attack Islam as well, because they are worse. But they don't. A lot of them don't seem to do that.
yeah, I had no idea that you were never a Christian, because in America, usually most people start off Christian and then become atheist later in life. So you're one of the few people I've met who've never been.
No, I was, my mum and dad, my family. I mean, my mum's mum, my gran, she was a Catholic, right? But it was never. It was just her. You know, it was just her that was a Catholic. Nobody else was. Nobody else in the family was. Where I'm in, where I stay in Glasgow in Scotland, there is Protestants and Catholics, right? But everybody knows that they're not really Protestants and Catholics. Do you know what I mean by that? They claim, they take the name, you know, but they don't really follow the religion, you know. And I never took the name because I was raised as an atheist, and the only time I went to church was like, you know, with the school, you know, maybe Easter or something like that, or for like a funeral or a wedding, you know. But I don't subscribe to any religion. I've never been religious. I've never prayed.
Okay, are you an MRA?
No. I mean, a lot of people would say I am. I don't mind that. I mean, if people want to call me that, I don't mind. I just don't call myself it because I'm very anti-label. I don't like labels, you know. Don't like labels because well, talking about this yesterday, I think it was before you came on the stream, where if you take a label, right, and you make a point, let's take MRA for example. If I say I'm an MRA, and this is what, here's a point I'm making. If somebody disagrees with that point, but they don't have any way to combat that point, they will instead attack MRAs. You know what I mean? Instead of attacking my argument, they'll attack MRAs, and they'll find some strand of the MRAs who happen to have said something bad once, and then they'll say, "Oh my God, look what you guys are like." No, I can't take you seriously. You're an MRA. So when I don't take the label, they're left with no option, but they have to attack my argument.
Yeah, yeah. I always thought that you were an
You know.
MRA. Like, to be honest, because like when I look at your Twitter and whatnot, or when I do see your tweets, I did take you for an MRA, or it's kind of like during that incident when it was like Corey Lewinsky versus like Michelle Fields. You had a lot of things to say, and I thought, oh, you're like an MRA, so I really took you for one. Um,
Um, uh, as I said, I understand why people think I'm an MRA. I certainly share a lot of their viewpoints, but I just I won't take the label. Labels are they're just trouble, basically. You know, just I'm nothing against MRAs. I mean, I was at the men's conference in London a few weeks back. I was surrounded by MRAs. I've absolutely nothing against MRAs. I just don't like labels. That's all it is.
all right. So when it comes to the viewpoints of MGTOW, do you agree with their viewpoints?
Some of them, yes. Like the core attitude, I agree with. I mean, again, I wouldn't take the label, but I agree with a lot of things they say. The way I sum up MGTOW is it's men who just simply do not want to follow the rules that have been set out for them. You know, all their life they've been told these are the rules you have to play by. You have to live like this. You have to do this for women. Live like this. Do your things like that. They're just saying, you know what? No, you can do it if you want, but I don't want to do it. I'm taking no part in this. And I agree with that. I think everybody should be like that. They should live the way they want and not the way other people want them to.
Yeah. What is your feelings towards the red pill of MGTOW? Like a taking the red pill and guys are.
Well, it's just a saying, isn't it? It's a way to say that, you know, you've been woken up, you know, from the bullshit. I don't think red pill is specifically MGTOW though. I think it can apply to a lot of different things. It's just that once you take the red pill, you can't go back, and you know. And I suppose I've taken the red pill many years ago, you know, and I haven't looked back. You know, I see the truth and I can see what's happening. And a lot of people, it's not that they can't see it; it's that they choose not to see it. You know, because they prefer to live in the matrix, if that makes sense. They like living in the matrix. They like the safety of it. They don't want to come outside and take the red pill and see what it's really like. So even though they know the way life is, they just choose to live in ignorance.
Okay. Let's see. Do you consider Scotland to be heavily influenced by feminism?
Well, we have a female first minister, which is our equivalent of a president. You know, that's so we have them. The SNP, which is the Scottish National Party, are currently running the show, and it'll be a while before they're not, because most Scottish people support them. I do not support them. I can't stand them. But yes, because of parties like that, I would say not heavily influenced, but definitely it's there. I mean, the woman who's in charge of education, right? I think it was 2 weeks ago, maybe a week ago, something like that. On Twitter, she was complaining that because the Gap didn't make a shirt with Einstein on it for girls, right? And I think they do actually make it for girls, but they just didn't advertise it. They advertised it with showing a boy wearing it, and then they also had a picture of a girl wearing a pink jumper with a pink butterfly on it or something, right? and she said that this is why, women don't go into the STEM fields. I mean, this is the woman in charge of education in Scotland. A few years back, they wanted to, I don't know if they're still going to do it, but they wanted to rename buildings because a lot of buildings, I don't know if you do it in America the way we do it, a lot of our buildings are named after people who've actually done something, right? And because we're Scotland, a lot of the people that have done things happen to be white and male, and they want to change the name of these buildings because they were named after white men and instead name them after minorities and women. So that's the kind of influence feminism has in Scotland. And it really is very, very accurate when people say feminism is cancer, because once it's there, it's hard to get rid of it. It's really hard to get rid of
it. Yeah, but I think you could say that's about many different ideologies. I mean, I don't know how long Christianity lasted in Scotland, though.
It's still here. I mean, Christianity is definitely still here. It's just we just don't take it that seriously. We celebrate Easter, we celebrate Christmas, but we don't take it that seriously. To the point where we're praying before dinner and stuff like that. I mean, we have schools, right? And there are Catholic schools, But again, as I said, most Catholics in Glasgow, where I'm from, they're not actual Catholics. They call themselves Catholics, and they'll go to what is it? Is it baptisms or christenings and stuff like that? They'll do all that jazz, but they don't take it that seriously. It's just kind of routine, but they don't go like every Sunday to chapel. That's not how it works. They don't do that. Very few of them do that.
What influences did feminists have in your country that you would like to see either changed or removed?
The SNP, right? The Nicola Sturgeon, she's the First Minister, she's the leader of the party. She put in a quota system, right? Which I don't agree with. But so her party is half male and half female, right? Which to me is just ridiculous, right? But she put that in play. And I mean, I admire the fact that she said she was going to do it and she stuck by her word and she did do it. I just don't agree with it. I think it's stupid, I mean, I've said this before. Like, if you have to have, I think it's 12 people all in, 6 men, 6 women, something like that, right? Now, if she's in a position, right? So let's see if we can work this out. She has to have half and half. In order to be a feminist, she has to have gender equality, 50-50, right? So if she's in a position, she's got to choose 6 women and 6 men. What if she has, right, at her disposal, she has 100 women to choose from? And all of these women are absolutely amazing politicians, right? She could pick 12 of them and she'd have a great party, right? And then she has, 12 men to choose from, and they're all idiots. According to her, she would take 6% of the women and 50% of the men who are idiots just to make the party 50-50, when she could have taken 12 women who were great. It's a stupid policy. It's a stupid idea. It doesn't guarantee anything. It doesn't mean anything. It's just to make it look good. So I would remove that kind of crap, because I just don't think it's needed. I don't think it's needed, and I certainly do not want feminism in our schools. And I don't know if you watched my video the other day about the named person scheme. Did you hear about
that? No, I'm not familiar with that.
The named person scheme the government's put in place. The Supreme Court said it's not viable. You can't do it, right, because it's an invasion of privacy. But what the government tried to do is have a named person, which was a guardian for every single child until they're 18. And this is a government-appointed guardian, who can dictate how you feed your child, how much exercise you give them, how much fun they have, to determine whether they're happy or not. This is what they want to do. They want to invade the home, the family home, and start dictating how things are done. And I'm not in favour of that at all. They'll have a very hard job coming in my house, and a lot of people are just like me. They just won't stand for it. But thankfully, it's been struck down. But they'll just try it again.
Yeah, that does sound terrible. It sounds a bit like a dictatorship. It sounds too authoritarian to tell people how to raise their child.
Mm-hmm. It's not just that. They're saying things like, um, every child should have the right to choose how their room is decorated and choose what they want to watch on TV. And it's like, no, not in my house. I make those decisions. Nobody's coming and telling my son he gets to decide how his room is decorated. That's just not on. If he's paying for it, he can.
It almost seems like spoiled rich kids came up with these laws.
I think it's worse than that. It's people who don't have children that are coming up with these laws. Nicola Sturgeon, the leader, she doesn't have any kids. Most of the women who are in favour of this don't have kids. It's very easy to support a law that doesn't affect you.
Yeah, you have a good point there. It's kind of like if you have a law, it would be different if it affected you, but it's like if you don't have kids, then how do you enforce laws for people who do have kids? And even then, people should mostly raise their kids whichever way they see fit, as long as they're not beating their children.
Mm-hmm. But things are already in place for that kind of thing anyway. Well, I mean, it's not like there's nobody looking out for children. If any harm has come to children, there's ways to get that handled. But what we don't need is the government having someone in every child's life. We don't need that. I mean, a lot of people compare it to the Hitler Youth. Where they get the child to tell on their parents. Is your parents guilty of wrongthink? Did your parents say anything bad about the leader? And although that's exaggeration, it's not far off.
Yeah, it's kind of like I could see, preventing child abuse. I don't think parents should abuse their kid or harm their kid, but
Mm-hmm.
the government shouldn't enforce parents to spoil their kids either.
No, no. I mean, if a kid was turning up to school, on a regular basis and had bruises all over them, one of the teachers would say something. They'd get the police involved and stuff. Um, if there was concerns, the schools would definitely bring these concerns up, and I think they should, of course, if they think there's something. Of course, if they think there's something going on that shouldn't be going on in a child's life, then definitely they should say something. But I mean, one of the things that upsets me, right, is fat kids. And I know that sounds a bit cruel. Again, that's what I mean. You've got to be concerned about people's feelings, because people get upset. But it really does. It breaks my heart to see a fat kid. And I'm not talking about slightly chubby. I'm talking about fat. And because they're obviously being overfed. There's a few in my son's school, and there's some of them like 3 times the size of a normal kid. You know what I mean? And it's just, to me, that's abuse. And I think that's so obviously you can't miss it. You just can't miss that this is happening. And then you take one look at their parents, and they're the same. They're big as well. They're heavy as well. And that's up to them. They're adults, but the kid, it's so annoying because I can't say anything. Because if I was to say something, I would be the monster. You understand? If I was to say, look, man, you're feeding your child too much. This has got to stop. I'd be the monster. I'd be the bad guy.
You're talking about people as fat as Trigglypuff?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about 7, 8-year-old kids here who are obviously too fat for their size. They're obviously being overfed. It's not like a genetic thing where they just happen to be that size. It's so obvious because you take one look at the parents and you can see that they're fat, and they're probably giving the child the same portions they're eating, and it's just so sad to see it, because you know that child is going to grow up. She'll become an adult, right? One of them's a girl in my son's class. She's very fat. She'll become an adult, and then she'll hate the world. She'll probably hate men because nobody's going to look at her, and she'll just be bitter and angry, you know. She won't be able to blame the people responsible. She won't be able to blame her parents, because you can't do that, you know. That's not right. And she'll be told that it's her own fault because she's an adult, you know. And that also might be the case with her parents. Maybe that's what her parents went through. Maybe they were fat when they were 8, you know. But to me, it's just despicable, and it's such an obvious thing that as a parent you can't miss it. You know, I mean, when I'm down at the school waiting on my son coming out, you see all the kids coming out, you know, and you can see the difference in a lot of them, you know. And there's no way you can miss that your child is 3 times the size of a normal kid. You can't miss that. And if you see that and don't do something about it, you know, that's when I think teachers should be able to say, look, get the social services or something to look into that, because that is not right. That is clearly not right. But I'm not against the teachers doing that, but just don't have one in every home for every child, and that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree that when a kid is a certain weight, it is a form of child abuse. No kid should be as fat as Strictly Puff, you know. It's like that's definitely child abuse right there.
Definitely.
Let's see. What is your opinion on Brexit?
I voted leave. Most people in my country voted to remain, but I voted leave. Britain is a great country, right? We've always been a great country. We're actually called Great Britain, right? That's how great we are. We don't need the EU. We don't need them. We don't need somebody hovering over us, telling us how to do our business. We don't need it. We'll take care of ourselves. You know, we've always been able to take care of ourselves. We do not need the EU. So that's why I was against it. I'm against the idea of people who we don't vote for making decisions for us. No, I'm not in favour of that at all.
Yeah. Do you wish that more British people or Scottish people were interested in politics, like did their research, learn more about politicians? Because I was watching a video on Brexit, and a person went and he asked different people why did they decide to remain, like what's great about remaining, and they just got tongue-tied. They were like, well, we don't want to be racist, and they can't really think of any good reasons to remain in the EU. And they were really strong about it. They were really strong, like, yeah, I'm pro-Remain, let's remain. But they were so ignorant. Like, they can't answer simple, basic questions, like name only three good things about staying in the EU. Only 3. For people who strongly want to remain, they should name those 3 things easily. But they have a hard time answering simple questions for being so opinionated. So when I say, like, do you wish more people were interested in politics, what I mean is more knowledgeable instead of having a strong idea, while at the exact same time being totally ignorant about the topic.
But again, it's the Brexit build-up was quite a few years, right? But mostly this year it's been building up. It's the most people voted in this than any other election that's ever taken place in Britain before, right? So that's how important it was to the people. But in the build-up to it, right, there was like 2 sides, and the people on the Remain side, their argument was basically, if you do not vote Remain, you are a racist, you are an Islamophobe, you are a xenophobe, and all that stuff. You know, you're a bigot. That was so a lot of people did vote Remain out of fear of being called these names. I'm not a racist. Look, I voted Remain. I'm totally not racist. A lot of it was virtue signalling, you know. But that was one of the reasons as well for me, is I don't like the idea that a bunch of people who I don't know, sitting in Belgium, deciding, right, you take some of these immigrants, right, and you take some of these immigrants and put some of them there, and put no. we will fucking decide if we take immigrants, not some cunt in Belgium who I don't know, we don't know them, we don't know who they are. No, forget that. If we want to take immigrants in, we will decide. Britain will decide, not EU, Britain. And I was against that. And apparently that makes me a xenophobe. And I don't know why it's racist or xenophobic to not want a culture that cannot live in the West coming to the West. I don't know why that's racist. They can't live here. They can't adapt. They're not willing to adapt, and it doesn't. Their way of life doesn't work with ours, you know. And they shouldn't be here if they can't adapt. And we can't just take them all in. We just can't.
Yeah. How has the Muslim community impacted Scotland? Like, I know they affected Rotterdam, England. I heard that's 1,200 people got raped in Rotterdam, England, and I want your take on how Scotland has been impacted by Muslims.
It's not that bad. I mean, we've got loads of Muslims here, but the good thing about the Scotland, especially in Glasgow, is that it's not just Muslims. It's everybody. Everybody lives in Glasgow. Like, I mean, we've got Chinese, Japanese, people from the Caribbean, people from Africa. And when I say Africa, I mean all the different nations in Africa. And it's very interesting, by the way, because a lot of the different nations in Africa hate each other. They're all black, but they fucking hate each other, right? We've got them all here. Greeks, Italians, you know, you name it, we've got them here. So because it's such a mixed bag, you know, we don't have an issue with the Muslims. The Muslims, for now anyway, tend to keep themselves to themselves. You know, they've got their own little communities. They do keep themselves to themselves, but it's still a concern that, because all it takes is something to upset them somewhere. You know, like one of our politicians saying, you know, they're in favour of Israel or something, and the next thing you know, we could have people getting killed. You know, so it's like a bomb that hasn't went off yet, and hopefully it will never go off. But all the other cultures here, I think, prevent it from going off, because, you know, that we all have to adapt. We all have to adapt to live together. But if it was just Scottish people and all the Muslims came over, I think there'd be a massive problem. But because it's so mixed here, we don't really have that issue. But
Yeah.
they're definitely here. We know where they live. We know the communities are, and I'm pretty sure that the MI5 or MI6 also know where the communities are and are keeping their eye on them, hopefully.
Yeah, because I know that, like, in certain places, like I think Brussels, they like bombed themselves and they killed a bunch of other people. So I did not know how you felt about having Muslims in Scotland.
I mean, I've worked with quite a few Muslims. I used to stay in one of the Muslim communities, and the funny thing is, as well, is it's just if they get upset politics wise, that's the concern, because we know what they do. You know, they set off bombs and they kill innocent people. We know what they do, but when you live amongst them and you feel safe, if that makes sense, you don't feel that. Like at night, you don't feel that you're in danger of a gang of Muslims. Do you know what I mean? You can walk past a gang of Muslims and you don't feel like you're in danger. It's just politically is a concern. But the thing is that the SNP are pro-Palestine. They've even ran the Palestinian flag in the main square here. So I think the Muslims are content for now. You know.
Mm. Okay, Fortune Grape says, how do you feel about spanking kids?
Spanking kids, I don't think, if you're a good enough parent, you'll never have to do that. There's never really a reason for it. I think you have to get them trained, as it were, from an early age, to know who's the boss and to know that you mean what you say. If they know that you mean what you say, then they'll know. There's never really a reason for it. There's only one time I've ever hit my son, and that was when he was like, I think he was about 1.5 or something like that. He was standing up and walking, so he's probably about 1.5, and he was shouting at his mum. The two of them were, you know, having a shouting match, and he just lashed out with his hands and went to hit his mum, you know, and I just darted right across the room and put my hand right in the back of his ass and slapped him right in the ass. He had a nappy on though, you know, but it was the shock, the pure shock in his face, and I was screaming at him at the time, "Don't you ever lift your fucking hand to your mother again," you know, and he got the message. That was the only time I've ever done that. All I need is a voice. All I need to do is raise my voice, and he's good. But he's 7 now. It's when he becomes a teenager, you know, I might have to kick his ass if he does something, if he gets out of line. I mean, there's definitely times for it, you know. If I don't know, if he doesn't tidy his room, he's not going to get hit. But if he tries to set the school on fire, he's going to get beaten. You know what I'm saying? There's a big difference, you know. If he walks around the park with a fake gun and points it at people, I'm going to kick his arse. You know, you understand? Mm-hmm. You know, I'm going to give him a fucking one thing I'll absolutely guarantee I will give him a severe beating for is if he ever starts smoking. He knows that though. He knows not to smoke. If he ever smokes, I will kick his arse up and down the streets. Yeah. But apart from that, no, there's no real reason for it.
Yeah, because when you smoke, it could give you cancer and lead to an early death.
Yep. Yeah, I think the spanking thing, it gets calmer every generation. You know, my dad used to hit me. You know, I don't hit my son, but his dad used to fucking beat him as well, worse than what he did with me. You know, and I think it gets calmer every generation. You know, it's just the way it works. But but I mean, some kids do need it though. Some kids definitely need to get their ass kicked. They definitely do need it, and I think especially boys have to be disciplined. So, and boys want to be disciplined. So, it's very important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I don't know how things are in Scotland. One of my friends told me that's in England, that certain companies give women paid period leave. So things this.
No, they were calling for that. I don't know if they've done that yet, but that was one of the things they were calling for, paid leave for being on your period. And actually, the most of the people who were against that were women, because you know it just makes them look pathetic, doesn't it? You know, to say, oh, you need time off for your period. Women have dealt with periods since time began. Then you know we've got it covered now. They know how to deal with it, and it's insulting to say that, you know, you can't answer phones or sit in an air-conditioned office if you're on your period, you know? No, just, I mean, this is a thing as well. They do things like this and then they complain about a wage gap. You know, you can't have it both ways, you know? But no, that should absolutely never happen. People being paid for being off just because they're on their period. No, that should never happen, ever.
Yeah. As a woman, I also think it's very offensive that, you know, it's kind of like we can't work during our period. It treats women like children, and it's very insulting, and it makes women seem very pathetic because for most women, it's not that bad. And there are cases where it could be extremely painful, but then your doctor could prescribe birth control pills to you.
Yes. And I mean, I'm sure that some women, you know, get really bad cramps and stuff like that. I'm sure that some of them get it worse than others, but that's still no reason to. I mean, you know what will happen as well if this came into play. So, say we're talking 3 or 4 days every month, where a woman gets to take time off work, paid. You know what's going to happen. Her and her friends' periods will line up together. You know. That it'll just coincidentally line up together, you know, so that they can go out together and go shopping and stuff. You know, you just know, and you also know that most women are going to say, "Oh, I get really bad periods. I'm going to need that time off." You know, if it was only for the extreme cases, they'll all just pretend to be extreme cases.
Yeah, it's very rare to have in extreme case, and even if that was true, doctors could prescribe birth control pills because doctors would do that for you. Like if you have a really nasty period, you could take birth control pills, and it wouldn't be a problem for you anymore. So
Hmm.
even with the extreme case, you could see a doctor for it and it could be dealt with. So even if you are one of those extreme cases, there is still no excuses to miss work because you have a period.
No, it's just pathetic. It's one of those things that makes women look, well, it makes women look pathetic. And if you keep hearing these stories all the time, take the average guy. I've said this before, but the average guy who hears these stories over and over again, women need time off for their periods, right? Okay, that's a bit pathetic. Oh, air conditioning in offices is sexist. Oh, for God's sake, this man asked me for coffee. That's sexual harassment. Oh, Jesus. Eventually, the average man is going to think women are pathetic, and this is what feminism does.
Yeah, that's also what I find feminism to be insulting. Like, I read an article, like, there is this law in England or Scotland that is anti wolf whistling, and it was just so
Hmm.
incredibly vague. It sounds like anything and everything you say to a woman could be viewed as sexual harassment.
Hmm. I think it was in Northampton in England. It, they've made misogyny a hate crime or something like
Yes,
that. So.
yes, 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 that's it. Like they're saying that they're gonna make misogyny a hate crime, including wolf whistling and including
Mhm.
like talking to a woman when she doesn't want to be spoken to. Like all of that is gonna be labeled a hate crime. And it seems really, really weird and vague. And it's like it's just going to make things worse between men and women. And
That's
I
the aim.
wouldn't I
That's
would,
the aim of feminism is to destroy the family, right? They've said that. They've made that clear in the 70s and 80s. They made that very clear that the whole point of feminism is to destroy the family. They're finding that quite difficult because, believe it or not, women like to have families. So what they're trying to do now is a bit at a time is to destroy the relationships between men and women. They're making it the case that even a simple interaction is going to be difficult. And if you're in Northampton, a simple interaction with a woman could lead to you being charged with a hate crime. And if you see, like, say you go for a job interview, right? uh, and they do a check, like a criminal check on you, and it comes up charged with a hate crime. That's not going to be specific. That's going to make the employer think you're a racist or a bigot of some sort. But all you said was, "Hey, you're pretty. Can I have your telephone number?" or something like that, and that's now a hate crime. It's just that it's a bit at a time to make interactions with the opposite sex almost impossible, because then if they nip it in the bud, there'll not be any more families. You know.
um, what comes to my mind is wouldn't that make people or men who live in England want to live in America instead? Like, if they were just like, I'm tired of England, these rules are too far, I have the money, I am just going to transfer to America because the laws here in
But,
England are too extreme.
but where in America though? Because a lot of places in America are just as bad. I mean, I mean, right now we've got that one here in Northampton. But if you go to California, we've got the yes means yes law. Again, that stops the interaction between men and women because men don't want to take the chance, of hooking up with a woman who might say, "I was raped," because I didn't say yes all the time. They've created this yes means yes law. That's worse than the hate crime law against women. I mean, that's really dangerous. So where can you go? It's,
But that's in California. Not all places in America is the same. For
no, I
example,
know. That's
I
what I mean. So where would you go then? Where would be the best place in America to move? Like Seattle or something? No, that's no, because that's where uh, Blonde in the Belly of the Beast lives, and she says that's a feminist hell. So I mean, Ohio or something. Where would you have to go to avoid all this?
Alabama, Mississippi, perhaps,
But
Alabama.
that's in the South, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, yeah, that you've got hate crimes against black people for just existing as a white person. Fuck that. You can't move there. That's just gonna be hell. You can, yeah, yeah. Where can you move to in America where you don't have to walk on eggshells around people?
You don't have to walk on eggshells in Alabama.
But
Where do you hear that from?
it's full of black people though. And
Yeah.
as a white person, you do have to walk on eggshells around black people, and it still doesn't help, you know.
Oh,
So,
that's not true. White
well,
people walk on
what I
eggshells.
mean is, how do you tell the good ones from the bad ones? How can you tell, you know, like the one that's not going to call you a racist as soon as you disagree with them? You know, as soon as you have a different viewpoint, how can you tell the one that's not going to call you racist against the one who is going to call you a racist? You don't know until you have that discussion. You don't know until you say, I disagree with that, or this is my opinion. You don't know. And it's the same with women. You don't know if you say in Northampton, I believe that's what it is anyway. You don't know if you say to a woman, excuse me, when's the next bus due? You don't know if she's going to say, oh my God, hate crime, or if she's going to say, oh, about 5 minutes. You can't tell until you're in that situation. So we're put in a position we constantly have to walk on eggshells. And if I was to say move to Alabama, I've got the black people to worry about, right? Because one of them are going to call me a racist eventually, and then I'll get fucking shipped out of the community for being a racist, charged with a hate crime for being a racist. But there's also the women as well. I've got to walk on eggshells around them too. You know, in fact, the only people you don't really need to walk on eggshells around is gay men. They seem to be the only ones who, you know, you don't have to walk on eggshells around.
Oh, I don't think it's that bad in Alabama. Alabama is very conservative. It's very, very conservative. It's highly Christian. So I highly doubt that you have any problems here.
I'm an atheist.
Oh, oh,
There you go. So again, walking on eggshells. I mean, if I was ever to move anywhere, it would be Japan anyway, right? But I would probably have to walk on eggshells in Japan as well. It's the same
oh,
everywhere.
okay. Like,
Everywhere.
in Alabama, the only thing you had to walk on the eggshells is with the Christian community. Like with the Christian community, you do have to walk on eggshells. You probably should keep the fact that you're an atheist is sacred, and you should probably just keep the fact that you're an atheist in the
You see, there
closet.
you go. I have to keep something about myself quiet. So, in other words, I do have to walk on eggshells then, because if I say, "Oh God, no, I don't believe in God," I could be in trouble. I'm not going to get lynched, but I could be in trouble. I could become a pariah. You know, people start gossiping. Oh, there's that guy there. You know, he doesn't believe in God. He's evil. He's probably the devil. Let's chase him out. Get the pitchforks. You know, I mean, it's just a matter of time. Again, so I would have to walk on eggshells about the fact that I'm an atheist. I mean, not that I go around wearing atheist t-shirts and going, "Hey, by the way, I don't believe in God," but you know, I would still have to keep that quiet. So if I was in Alabama and there was a group of people and we're all having a chat and they were all talking about God, I would have to keep my mouth shut. I don't like living like that. You know, I don't like it. I don't like living like that. I mean, like, I make a lot of enemies because I don't live like that. A lot of people just don't like me because, as I said earlier, I will not put feelings above facts. I just won't, and I couldn't live like that.
Yeah, if you were an open atheist in Alabama, you would probably be ostracized. You would be a big pariah.
Hmm.
Many people don't want to talk to or associate with atheists.
No, exactly. So I couldn't live in Alabama. So not only have I got the blacks to worry about, not all of them, of course. And you know that when I say that, I don't actually mean all of them. Same way I don't mean all women. But the thing is, you can't tell the difference just by looking which one's going to scream racist and sexist and which one isn't going to scream racist and sexist. You can't tell, you know, just by looking. So you have to walk on eggshells. Otherwise, someone's going to get upset. Oh no, that I've got a different opinion. Oh dear, I'm in trouble. You know.
Well, why would you have to walk on eggshells in Japan, though?
Well, I know that in Japan, that they have in certain places they have female-only train carriages. So going on just that piece of knowledge, that makes me think, you know, right away the men are treated like creeps, which is crap. Um, so going on that, I would probably have to walk on eggshells around the women there, you know. Yeah. But I mean, if I was to move somewhere, I would adapt though. Yeah, I think that's what you have to do. You can't go into another culture and then demand that they change, you know. But so I would adapt if I went to Japan. But I think there's the language barrier would mean I wouldn't have to, walk on eggshells as often. But if I was speaking in Japanese, I probably would have to. Yes, I think most cultures are the same, you know, in that sense that you have to do that.
I don't think that most cultures are the same because, well, I mean, like, I don't think that's the deep south is that much affected by feminism. We're heavily influenced by Christianity, but not feminism so much. We still live in a very Christian culture where you're expected to go to church every single Sunday and Wednesday. You're expected to believe in God and
Hmm. Exactly. You see, again, that's to me that's quite sad in a way that other people expect that of you, and I think that it's not up to them. If it's up to you, you know. And how many people in Alabama, right, are going to church every Sunday that really don't want to go, but they're only going because they don't want to be a pariah. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's no way to live your life. I couldn't live my life like that. If I didn't want, if I was in Alabama, I wouldn't want to go to church anyway. But I just wouldn't go, you know. But you can't. It's not that easy if you're brought up there, and people start, gossiping and stuff. It's not that easy, is it?
mm, yeah, I see where you're coming from. You can't bring yourself to live a lie.
No, you can't do that. That's no life, is it? It's no way to live your life.
Okay, so the final question I have for you is but I would look at chat to see if they have any questions. But for me, my final question is there anything you wish your audience knew about you?
Uh, hmm. No, I don't. I think they know. They would know everything um, that I want them to know anyway. I think. Uh, I suppose I would like them if they were new to my channel. I would like them to know that they are free to say whatever they want to say, because I don't ever remove comments or block people or anything like that. So I believe that they should have the right to express their opinion, even if the opinion is, that they hate me or whatever. I don't care. It's more important that they get to say what they want to say. But apart from that, I think they already know pretty much everything about me that I would want them to know.
Yeah, from like watching you on live streams, you seem like very honest and like you don't hold anything back. Like I think you were on a live stream with like that guy T, and you
Hmm.
guys were talking about like the incidents, or there's like this football player and he had this wife or a girlfriend that kept hitting him and punching him
Uh,
nonstop, and then they
Ray,
were
Ray
both
Rice.
elevator, and then he punched her one time,
Hmm.
and she was like knocked out from that one hit, and then the media just like really got all over it, and you were like you took his side. You were like, well, it's like she kept hitting him nonstop, and so she deserves to be hit back because
Hmm.
she needs to know that you don't hit people like that.
Well, in that scenario, now uh, most guys don't want to go around hitting women, right? I think we know that anyway. Men are very protective of women, but in that scenario, I think every woman in that kind of situation should be treated like a smaller, weaker man, right? Because then you're holding them to the same standards as you would hold men, right?
Mm-hmm,
But you're also taking into account that they're physically weaker than men.
mm-hmm.
So treat them like you would a smaller, weaker man. Now, what do you think would happen if a smaller, weaker man was slapping Ray Rice in the face several times? He would he would fucking knock him out, right? He would. I mean, he's not going to take that, is he? Why should he take it off a woman simply because she has a vagina? That's just unacceptable.
What about the idea that he could have restrained her? Like, why not instead of like
But
punching her, just restrain her
but
and
this is something that really bugs me, right? When people say this, why is it right that when a woman initiates violence with a man, why is it that the onus is on him to control the situation? Why? She started it. She could have avoided everything that happened to her if she just wasn't violent. And this is what people in the media do as well. Oh, he should have restrained her. Oh, why don't they focus on the fact that she was violent? Why are they not saying she shouldn't have done that? Instead, they're saying he should have done this. Why is the onus on him simply because he's a man, remember? Why is the onus on him to take control of the situation and restrain a woman? And another thing as well, what if he did restrain her, right? Let's say instead of punching her, which she deserved, instead of doing that, he did restrain her, right? Let's say he did. What if by restraining her, he left a slight scratch or bruise on one of her arms? What do you think the police and the court system is going to do to this guy who's taken the advice of everyone else by restraining her? He's going to get nailed to the wall for abuse. He cannot win. And you hear that another crap you hear is he should walk away. And again, why is the onus on the man who is the victim here, the victim being attacked? Why is the onus on the victim to walk away? Why is the onus on the victim to restrain the attacker? Why? This would never happen in any other situation with two men, whether one was stronger or bigger or whatever. Nobody would ever say, oh hey, that guy's stronger than that other guy, he should have restrained him. Nobody would ever say that. Nobody would ever say, oh, that guy's weaker, so the stronger guy should have walked away. Nobody would ever say that. Women are held to the standard of children, and what's even worse is that it's not just children, it's retarded children who are not in control of their actions. And I will not hold women to that standard. I'll hold them to the same standard as smaller, weaker men, and simply say, don't go hitting somebody because you might get hit back. I would never put the onus on the attacked person. And again, how do you, restraining somebody, especially a crazy woman who's desperately trying to hit you, that's not an easy thing to do. The onus should be on her to not be violent. It shouldn't be on him at all. He's the victim in this case. That's my opinion on it.
I don't think anybody, well, I hope that nobody is justifying her actions. I just think people are taking account that he is several times stronger than her. What she did is terrible, horrible.
Why didn't she take that into account? Why didn't she take it into account that he is bigger and stronger than her? Do you see? Why didn't she take that into account? Because if she did, maybe she wouldn't have hit him and attacked him first. Maybe she wouldn't have initiated the violence if she took that into account. There is no onus on him at all. He has the right to defend himself when he's attacked. Doesn't matter who's attacking him. He has the right to defend himself, but as soon as he does, you get people all over the place saying he's a coward, he's not a real man, he should have walked away, he should have restrained her, this, that, and the third. It's ridiculous. There's no onus on the man in that situation. The onus is on the woman to not be violent. And maybe if we all started saying that, maybe women would start behaving themselves and going, I don't want to hit this guy because people will say I should have, I should have been not violent, rather than saying, because remember as well, she knows for a fact that she's putting him in a no-win situation. She knows this. She knows that he can't hit her back because he'll be the bad guy. She knows that he can't restrain her because he'll be the bad guy. She knows that he can't walk away because he'll be the bad guy and he'll get called a coward. She knows she's putting him in a position where he cannot win. And when you're put in that position, just why play the game? Why play the game that's set up where you just can't win?
Well, she did come to his defense later. They both made up and they're still together. But I think where people are coming from is that she is still wrong and she's still terrible and horrible for hitting him. But he is several times stronger than her, and he should take his strength into account.
But when you look at the video anyway, it didn't even hit her that hard. I mean, it wasn't like a full force punch, you know. But again, to me, it doesn't matter what size he is, and it doesn't matter how strong he is. In fact, that kind of goes against the argument, because if he's so big and strong, why was she hitting him? Just think about this. Think about it, right? How stupid would you have to be to walk up to the Hulk and slap the Hulk in the face? How stupid would you have to be to do that?
To me, she seems crazy to me. Like watching the video, I thought that she was crazy, and I didn't know like how come a police officer didn't intervene. That was my question the whole entire time.
Maybe
Like, how come a police officer didn't just rush to the scene and get involved? How come?
maybe there was no police nearby, or just maybe there was just nobody nearby who could, no security or police who could intervene. Maybe, who knows? Or maybe there was security there, and they just thought, oh, here's another ratchet being a ratchet, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, because it's kind of like I just didn't understand, like, how come nobody got involved? Like, how come there wasn't a person with pepper spray to just pepper spray her?
I mean, hindsight is always 2020. I mean, you cannot. There's always a better solution when when you look back on it. But in the situation he was in, remember as well, they were both drinking, right? So they're not like of their normal sane mind. They're a bit drunk, but it doesn't excuse anything. She was violent, and in fact, see, after she got punched and knocked out, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many times since then do you think she has attacked a man who is bigger and stronger than she is? Because I'd say a big fat zero.
In the ghetto, girls would do that. Like even when I was in Child Corps, girls would be fighting some men at Child Corps. Like they would just be hitting, and they would be getting in some fights, and they would get back together with the guy. And it's kind of like the girls in the ghetto and the girls at Child Corps, they're very ratchet. It's like they're extremely ghetto, violent, hostile. They act just like men. To be honest, they act very manly. They're just
Yes.
violent, and they fight and they hit. I don't really get
I
it
mean,
because I myself am not a violent person. I don't get in fights, but they are, women are very violent in the ghetto. Like they're really just like men, but in a woman's body.
see what you're saying there, right? Is I don't know if you realise that it's kind of insulting in a way, right? I'll explain what I mean, right? You're seeing these women, right, who
Mhm.
are being violent, right, and you're saying they're behaving like men, whereas I would say they are behaving like women. They're women. They're behaving like women. That's how women are. I'm not saying all women are violent. I'm saying some of them are, just like some men are. But when a woman's violent, she's not acting like a man. It's nothing to do with men. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
It'd be like me saying, that white guy stole a car. He's acting like a black person. He's not acting like a black person. He's a criminal. Just like when a woman's being violent, she's not acting like a man. She's being violent. She's a woman.
oh,
Because this happens a lot when women negative behaviour of women gets attributed to men. Like if a woman's ugly, she's like a man. If she stinks, she's like a man. If she's violent, she's like a man. No, she's not like a man in any way, shape, or form. She's a woman, and she's being violent. Do you know what I'm saying?
oh, yeah. I get what you're saying. Like I can see what you're saying now.
I mean, it's just if a guy kills his child, it's like saying, "Oh God, he's acting like a woman." He's not acting like a woman. It's nothing to do with women.
I mean, but okay, we do have things like that. Like if a guy draws really weak, people say he draws like a girl if he has a weak throw.
Yes,
Or if a guy is weak at fighting, people are like,
but
oh, he
but
plays so
that's a
good if he's.
that's a fair comparison because women are physically weaker than men. Like you throw like a girl type of thing. Women are physically weaker than men, but men aren't inherently violent. So
Men have more testosterone than women, though. Men have far more testosterone, which makes men more aggressive.
I still wouldn't say, when a woman's being violent, she's acting like a man. I wouldn't bring men into it at all. If a woman's being violent, she's being violent. It's just that simple. It's nothing to do with men. If I
I
mean,
think,
if a black woman, you know, drives all over the road, she's not being an Asian. She's driving badly. You
mhm.
know, she's not acting like an Asian. It's just I don't know. It's just something that a lot of people do say that though. It's not just you. I'm not having to go to you because a lot of people say that. Um, acting like a man. It's like no, like one of the things you get here is if young women, like we're talking like 16, 17, 18, if they go out drinking a lot, drinking heavily,
Mhm.
um, they're acting like men. It's like, no, they're not acting like men. Loads of women do this, so it's nothing to do with men. It's actually they're acting like women because that's what women do. But when they get drunk and they fall all over the street, and they're behaving like they even call them ladettes, they're not ladettes. They're women. Stop trying to give them a male name, so that it sounds like they're behaving like men. They're not behaving like men. Whenever women are rowdy or violent or aggressive, they're behaving like men. They're not. They're not behaving like men at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see where you're coming from, but with the whole violent thing, I think I was from. It's because even when you look at nature, like even when you look at bears or lions, men or males tend to have more testosterone, and testosterone makes people aggressive. Like if you were
Hmm.
to take testosterone and you were to interject testosterone in a woman, she would be more aggressive. She would take more risk. She would start developing more traits because testosterone would influence behavior because testosterone is still a chemical. Just like estrogen. Like if you were to take estrogen and if you were to put estrogen in a man, you keep giving men a dose of estrogen, it would change a man's behavior.
Yes, of course. I mean that's going to happen, but I think it gives them like a get out clause, you know, to say they're behaving like men. It dismisses the issue. Like this isn't a women's issue. This isn't a women's problem. This isn't a problem with the women. This is a man thing because she's behaving like a man. And it's like, well, no, she's not. She's not. What she's behaving like is herself. She's behaving like herself, who happens to be a violent, rowdy person. I mean, how do you explain violent women who have no testosterone at all? How do you explain these violent women? And there's lots of violent women. So where are they coming from? They're not injected with testosterone. They're
Well,
violent because they're violent.
well, when the an Asian scientist has shown that there are black women who have more testosterone than white women. You know,
Hmm.
so a person can have a chemical imbalance.
But still, that comes across like excuses, though. Like they can't help it because the chemical imbalance. People just need to start behaving themselves and
Mm-hmm.
showing more discipline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people do need to show more discipline, but where is the person going to get that discipline in the ghetto? Because the ghetto is a lot like the Middle East, maybe a bit better, but the ghetto is a hellhole, and the
Hmm.
schools are very bad. Like black people, like in certain ghettos, they go to like really terrible, horrible schools that don't really teach anything. So
Hmm.
it's kind of like, where exactly are they supposed to get this discipline? Where is it supposed to come from? Because,
Parents,
huh?
the parents. I know there's a lot of fatherless homes, but still, a mum can still discipline her kids, and they need to, you know, get their finger out their arse and learn how to do it properly. If the
Even
father's not there, then that should be more incentive to the mother to be a disciplinarian.
Even
Because Asian mothers are good at it. Jewish mothers are good at it. There's no excuse.
even no, the women, even the mothers in the ghetto, they don't even know how to behave. Even they are, ghetto, they're ratchets. Even the mothers, they don't know how to behave. So if you don't know how to behave, your mother doesn't know how to behave, your grandmother doesn't know how to behave, your daddy's in jail.
Hmm.
Where are you supposed to get good behavior from? Who is
Well,
supposed to be your role model?
well, maybe you'll learn the good behaviour in situations where you initiate violence with a stronger, taller man who then punches you in the face and knocks you out. Maybe you'll learn from that, from all these different scenarios in your life, and you'll start to think, you know something, maybe I just won't be violent to somebody else. Then I won't end up getting punched. You know, since their mothers are so brain dead, they didn't teach them this. You know. So
Oh, but like,
maybe they'll just learn this discipline through life experience. If we didn't give men such a hard time for hitting someone who is physically attacking them.
oh, but like even in the ghetto or like in job corps, like these women would get into some fights with some men, and the men would hit back, and they would just make up. They'll get back together, and it'll just be an ongoing cycle. It's kind of like the women are brain dead because they will still keep being violent. They'll keep being loud, and they'll keep doing the exact same thing. They never ever learn anything. It's kind of like being a retard because they keep doing the exact same thing no matter, like, even if they fight a guy and the guy hits back, they would get back together with that guy. They would be so in love again, and then they'll just get fist fights again. It nothing ever changes and nothing ever gets smart.
Hmm. It's a vicious circle, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a cycle because it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like they're crazy or something. It's why I am glad I left the ghetto because I was tired of all the riots and gunshots. It was just terrible. So I'm glad I left the ghetto. And not only that, but in the ghetto, people are very self-destructive. I mean, the ghetto is like all these self-destructive people all in one spot. Even in job corps, so many people are self-destructive. They never learn anything. They just keep screwing up their own lives. It's kind of like there's this one teacher at Shaw Corps. He really helped this guy. He found this guy a good job, but this guy he kept doing drugs. He kept doing cocaine and meth and whatnot, so he
Hmm.
couldn't get a job. And it's really like these people just cannot stop being self-destructive. They really can't. They really just can't. So they just are stuck in that lifestyle. They're stuck in a position where they keep selling drugs or they're selling guns, and
Hmm.
they have to steal guns first. So they steal guns and they sell the guns, and they will go to jail eventually. Maybe not the black people because of Black Lives Matter. Like, who knows if Black Lives Matter makes any accomplishments or not. But right now, at least right now, they're still going to jail right now.
Black Lives Matter don't care about the ghetto, though. That's not what they don't care about the ghetto. They don't care about the black lives in the ghetto. That's obvious.
Hmm. Yeah, because I'm telling you, I mean, I lived in a ghetto, and there'd be like all these riots, there'd be all these gunshots, and who do you think are getting killed? Other black people. Other black people are getting killed in the ghetto. That's why, like, people are trying to get out of the ghetto. It's
Hmm.
kind of like, and there's just like one social justice warrior, and they were like, I realized that by trying to get out of the ghetto, I'm trying to get away from blackness, and I have internalized white supremacy. And it's like, no, the ghetto is dangerous. And
Hmm.
that's why people want to move to like a white neighborhood. It's because it's safer.
Now, what might sort out the ghetto is you could even try it as an experiment where take a ghetto and just flood it with Muslim immigrants and just wait and see what happens. That could be interesting. All those homes with families, full families, man, wife, kids, moving into the community. You know, maybe it would either utterly destroy it or maybe they could learn from it. I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know because if there was a healthy family in the ghetto, like they would probably leave the ghetto. I don't think that they would want to
No,
stay in the
but I
ghetto.
mean, if we're talking about immigrants who don't really have anywhere else to go, don't stick them in good housing. Stick them in the ghetto. They'll be happy for a place to stay, and they'll probably try and work their way out of the ghetto. But they might also change it, by opening up their own stores and you know. I'm not saying it would change it for the better, but it's a possibility. You never know because it can't get any worse, can it?
Uh, it's easier to be jealous and vengeful to the people you're jealous of. Like it's easier to be like really jealous and
Hmm.
try to like scrape up another person's car and try to make other people as miserable as you are. What I would think would happen is if a good family were to get to the ghetto, the either they would get shunned and avoided, or the jealousy would get to other people and they would probably try to make the happy family as bitter and as angry as they are.
I don't know. I don't know about the jealousy thing because if we're talking Muslim immigrants, Muslims aren't really the type to like show off what they have, if that makes sense. You know?
Yeah, yeah, but it's kind of like it seems like the Muslim community has its own problem because when I hear about Muslims, I hear about them raping people or blowing themselves up, just screaming Allah Akbar and then shooting people,
Some of
bombing.
them, some of them definitely do that. but I just mean, right now in the black community in a black ghetto, they've only got each other to hate. Throw in another group that's different from them, and give them someone else to hate, and see how it might work out good. It might work out even worse. But that's what I would do if I was in charge. I would throw in a different group of people into the mix in a large number, and just to see how it works out. Because then they won't just have each other to hate; they'll have new groups to hate, and maybe that will mean they'll stand together. Maybe there'll be more black unity if they had someone else in the community to hate instead of just each other. It's just a thought.
I don't know. Black people do hate white people. Like even in the ghetto, there are plenty of black people who hate white people.
Oh, definitely, but the white people aren't there
Hmm.
because they would be fighting with them if they were there. The only other people they've got to fight with are other black people, you know.
Hmm.
So, and I don't think black people hate Muslims. So I think it could possibly work out quite well, you
Yeah,
know.
I always wondered what would happen if a bunch of Muslims moved to the ghetto. I always wondered what would happen if they would get along or if the two cultures would clash.
I think there'd be a clash for a while, but I mean, it's better than trying nothing because as I say, it can't get worse.
Yeah, yeah. That would be interesting if it could happen, but we don't have many Muslims in the United States because it's kind of like they're from the Middle East and it would take a while to get the plane tickets and for them to afford the trip to come to the United States and to stay here. But it would be an interesting experiment to
Hmm.
put black people and Muslims together to see how things will go. But there is a video by Gazi Koso of him protesting at a Muslim gas station to make him apologize for calling a woman a bitch.
I've not seen that.
Oh, I could send it to you. It's on Garcicosa's channel. I could send it to you. Just give me a second to find it. But
It's all right.
it was like entertaining to watch though. It was like entertaining because like they were like yelling and screaming. I mean, you would think that the person was white the way they were acting. Yeah, yeah, it's kind of like, and they were like chanting, like, shut it down, shut it down, shut it down. And then finally, the Muslim apologized, and well, for me, YouTube is frozen. Oh, wait, no, it's not. It's not anymore. Oh, and it's the first video that popped up. It's the very first video that popped up. So, um,
Are you sending it on Twitter or are you putting it in the chat here?
Right? And you know oh, I was thinking of playing it. Okay, how's this? Why don't I just put it on Google Chrome and just screen share? Hold on. But it's really crazy. Let's see. Google Chrome goes so man, it was number one on the Internet Explorer.
I didn't know it was him.
It was number one on the Internet Explorer, and then I switched to Google Chrome, and I don't see it anymore. But the name of the video is like called "Don't Call Our Women Bitches." Shits. Okay, I'll just say it. Don't call our women bitches. Because it's really interesting. Here we go.
My name is Ryan Williams, and I came to Montgomery Acquisitions for...
Can you hear everything?
Mm-hmm.
And you can see it, right?
I can see it, yes.
Hi, how you doing? My name is Dr. Cuzzo with the Blue Movement. You are a colonized individual, right? You're from Palestine, right? And you know how the Israelis treat Palestinians, right? And as African people, we are against the Israelis. We are against colonialism, right? We are against the way that they treat your people. Listen, you're taking this attitude and bringing that attitude, and you're acting like how Israelis treat Palestinians to act. Yes. This is her community. You still don't have a reason to call her. You don't have a reason to call her a bitch. We're not here to go back and forth. We want to rectify the situation. We need a public apology. Maybe public apology for yes, your business. No, man. You don't have an option here. You don't have an option. You want to shut it down. You want to be shut down. You want to be shut down. You want to be shut down. If we help get that shut down, I said shut down. Don't report the children. They call this woman and they call the bitch and kick them out this morning. That's already you gonna call the police. It's not somebody to get short. We're gonna kick these bitches out of our community. They're treating us like shit. Sometimes they ain't nothing to fuck with. You don't get the term in our community. They all fuck with these bitches. Not here, mother. We are colonized people. They think they gonna come here and disrespect us. Oh, really? You better not go to this country and call any Muslim woman a bitch. Ain't nobody gonna be out with a microphone. They gonna have to wax and bust you upside your head. Arrest the police. Pick him up, hood. Ain't no good. Pick him up, hood. Ain't no good. Pick him up, hood. He made a decision. He made a decision. He's aligning with the state. He's aligning with pigs. He's against African people. He's against St. Pete. He's against the black people in St. Pete. So we're against his establishment. We've offered him multiple times just to write a story, the Weekly Challenger, apologizing to his sister and her daughter. So now we're going to shut it down. This is what happened in the hood. This is what the hood go through. This is the truth. We are concerned about what's happening in our community. And we said we ain't taking this shit like that. African people ain't afraid of dying. We die every day. But see, we don't understand who our real enemy is. It's the pigs. The pigs. More pigs. More pigs. More pigs. More pigs. No more pigs. Arrest the police. I said, don't arrest me. Arrest the police. Arrest me. It's not the police. It's not the police. It's not the police. It's not the police. Arrest the police. She needs to leave the property. Scott wants you off the property. Arrest the police. Arrest the police. Arrest the police. This is going to be a arrest the police. Arrest the police. Thank you. Can you have them to our class? Thank you. You don't have the jurisdiction. Yeah. Thank you. All right. You can have it too. You can have it too, man. Look, apologize right now. Okay. He's apologizing right now. Community control on the police. Community control on the police. If you're not part of an organization, if you're not part of the Uhuru movement, not just any organization, but the International People Democratic Uhuru movement, then you're tripping. You just seen the power in numbers. You just seen the power in our community. You just seen the Chinese pigs up out of here and cause this man to apologize to our black African queen. You understand that? You need to join the Uhuru movement. Say no and no. We are winning. We are winning, baby.
That's power, y'all. That's power. We practice power. We practice power, y'all.
Okay, that's the end of the video. And I think he apologized just to shut them up. I don't think it was like a sincere apology. I think it's like, man, I want you to shut up and go away. So I'll apologize to you. Like, yeah, I'm sorry. I just don't think it was very genuine. It was just something to get it to go away.
I mean, if they're going to have a problem with black women being called bitch, then, you know, maybe they should start in their own community. You know, why are they attacking this guy? What, this guy called her a bitch? That's what we have to believe.
Yeah, apparently he called her a bitch, and I'm not sure. Maybe there were witnesses, and that's why they were like going on. Maybe it's not just her word. There were probably witnesses.
No, but even then, I mean, does she get as upset when black men call women bitches? You know, or you know, it just seems if you're going to be upset at that, there's a better place to start than that shop.
I don't know if black people, I mean, again, not all ghettos are the same, so I don't know if a black man called her a bitch in the ghetto that she's from, you know.
No, but it's common, you know, it's a common theme. You know, maybe a stereotype, but it's a common theme that black men call women bitches, you know.
Oh, sure.
She could take a protest to maybe a record company that makes rap music. You know, if she had such an issue with women being called bitch, maybe she could take a protest to a record company rather than some gas station, you know, where a guy's just trying to do his job, you know.
Yeah, I think it's because he's providing goods and services to a black community, and he said, "Well, if you're providing goods and services to our community, then you should treat the women in the community well instead of treating them any kind of way."
But then maybe she was a bitch. I mean, going from that video there, she came across like a bitch. So how do we know that when he called her a bitch, she wasn't acting like a bitch? Because even though he's got a business there, he still has the right to freely express himself. And if she's behaving like a bitch, which she was there, then why not call her a bitch? You know?
I don't think that the woman in the microphone was called a bitch. I think the woman wearing the nurse's outfit with the red hair, I think she was the one called a bitch because he hugged her in the end. And the woman in the microphone referred to her as the African queen. Like he just apologized to our African queen. So I think that the woman in the nurse's outfit was called a bitch.
Right.
And we hardly saw her. I mean, she only got attention at the end of the video.
But it's still a ridiculous reaction to something that happens all the time. You know? The guy has the right to call her a bitch, though. You know what I mean? He's got that right.
I do think that they overreacted. Like instead of making a huge ruckus over it, if it's that much of a big deal, why not boycott the place? There must
Exactly.
be better gas stations to go to. You don't have to go to that particular one.
I just don't, I don't believe it. You know, I don't believe the story. You know, and even if it did, it's hardly worth a protest. You know, hey, somebody called me a bitch. So what? You know, welcome to the planet. You know, it's ridiculous. It's not worth a protest. This guy, this Black Hitler guy, he just he's just desperate to fight the good fight, but he doesn't have a good fight, and he's heard this. Oh, somebody called me a bitch. What? Who called you a bitch? Give me that megaphone. Let's go. It's a ridiculous reaction to being called a bitch. I mean,
Well,
I've been called far worse. I just
yeah,
it's
there are
ridiculous.
probably witnesses the whole entire time, though. So,
But that doesn't matter. It's still such a non issue worth. It's not worth a protest. It's not worth this megaphones and crowds of people shouting about black people. It's ridiculous. If somebody tells me, if you told me you went to the shop and the guy working in the shop called you a bitch, I'd be like, right, and I mean, I wouldn't go, right, let's get the megaphone, let's get the pitchforks and torches. It's ridiculous. So somebody called her a bitch. As I say, welcome to the planet.
I think the people in the Uhuru movements are power hungry. Like the woman
Yes.
at the end, she says, "This is the power in the numbers." Uhuru, I think they just love power.
Hmm.
They're power driven.
Well, if you look at the reaction as well, he came out, he apologised, he hugged the woman, and they still continued making noise. They weren't happy with that apology. I think they were a bit annoyed that they got the apology. You know, I think they didn't want the apology because they wanted to keep going and make more noise, and they're still making noise afterwards. Why? They got what they wanted. Go away now. No, they still continued to make lots of noise. I wonder how long they stood there for after that, making noise.
No, they said that they got what they wanted. And he said because like the moment he hugged that girl and apologized, everything seems to be good then. That's what I got from it.
Well, I still think it's a ridiculous reaction over nothing. I mean, it really is over nothing.
Yeah, they want power. They are power hungry. They want power, and it's kind of like a person being brought to submission. It satiates their ego. It's like, yeah, because they're ego driven, and I
Hmm.
I think that they probably just want to bully other people. Like who knows? They'll probably start bullying white people. I
Well,
mean, Sikoso, he does have his white slaves. Like he does have white people thinking, "I owe you reparations."
mhm.
Like I don't know if you saw that video or not,
I've seen that. I've seen that. The white guilt.
but there were like a bunch of white people who are like us Sikoso saying like, "Who's you?" And they're like, "I am Beckley," and it's kind of like God says, "Do you owe me reparations?" And they're like, "Yeah, I owe you reparations." And I'm gonna
Hmm.
sure that all white people give you the reparations that you deserve. And he has this other guy on his channel whose name is like Nibbles or something or whatever. And
Hmm.
this guy's like, "Yeah, we white people need to give black people their reparations." So he does have a bunch of white people on his channel demanding that other whites give black people reparations.
Well, it's not worth a protest. But if the guy at the gas station had a sign up and it said, we don't serve black women, that would be worth a protest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or if he made a habit of calling all his female customers bitch, and it was obvious every time he served a woman, right, bitch, there's your change. Okay, maybe protest then, but one incident, apparent incident of calling one woman a bitch, and we don't know if she was behaving like a bitch at the time. We don't know. We don't know the full story. And this needs a protest. This is a joke.
Yeah, but like where I'm from in Alabama, you shouldn't call a woman a bitch. However, I don't think anybody would do a protest. I think everybody would boycott instead.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, you shouldn't go around calling anybody anything negative, really, you know. But as I say, that you interact with arseholes all the time. Is this her first time she's met an arsehole? You know what I'm saying? The reaction is just it was just beyond a joke.
Yeah, yeah, they were acting really crazy. I think they just want power, though. They want to display power and they want to recruit people. Like they have an agenda. Like, let's not forget that they have an agenda to show their power. They need to have a narrative. That's why everything's on camera. They need to have a narrative. That's why they're not behaving normally.
Narrative's wearing thin, though.
Yeah, looking at his downvotes, like he has a lot of downvotes. I think I closed the window, but I don't think many black people agree with him.
No, he's just annoying. He's annoying and he's loud and obnoxious. I don't think many people like him, to be honest.
Yeah, very few people like him. I mean, sure, like most of his followers are black, obviously, but most people don't like him. That's why he gets massive downvotes on every
Mm-hmm.
video he makes. And I'm pretty sure that people just subscribe to him just to laugh at him.
Most likely.
Yeah, like because like even when you look at the comments, people make it really clear that they subscribe to his channel just to laugh at him because they think he's a walking joke.
Well, he is. Still there?
Yeah, I'm still there. I was just feeling uncomfortable in my sitting position, so I switched positions. Um, anyway, I've ran out of things to talk about. I don't know if you have anything you want to say. So, is there any like final words or anything?
No, I don't have like a closing thing or anything, but just thanks for having me on. It was fun. Different.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, we sure like had a lot to say. We did have a few differences of opinion, but I think it was really fun, entertaining. It was really, it was great having you on.
No, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
What was that?
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you on. So, we'll just end it here. Goodbye, everybody.
Okay. Bye-bye.